Thank you, especially to those of you who put up with us taking you away from your talking and making you get your pictures taken. Thank you. We don't get a lot of opportunities to get you all in the same room. So forgive us if that was not your favorite thing. Let's all please find our seats. Thank you. Those of you in the back, please try to come and find your seats, please. There's a whole table right up here. Come on, don't be shy. Come on up. Mix it up. Meet someone new. Thank you. Go ahead. Just be assertive. Get the shot. We don't get another chance. Mayla? Mayla? Is that one your spot there? Between me and Lori? It can be. Okay, make sure Mark knows that. Thank you. Oh, look how good you are. You all found your seats. Congratulations. Feel free, just go ahead. I encourage you to be as assertive as you need to be to get the shots you need to get. Good. I like you there. You can see everything. That's good. Good evening. Welcome. Hi. My name is Kate Dwyer, and I have the profound honor of being the executive director of the Four-Way Community Foundation. Thank you. Thank you. First, we're going to have a little bit of safety housekeeping. There are exit doors on all of the perimeters. There is a bathroom right here, and there are other restrooms at the back, behind this curtain and straight back. We have many sponsors to thank, as you can see on the programs, and John is going to list all of those at the end. But right now, I especially want to thank Evergreen Federal Bank for the use of this beautiful facility. Thank you. And the staff of Evergreen Federal Bank, especially Ernesto. This is his house, and he helps us out. Yeah. And I'd like to thank the Seroptimus Club for their help setting up, and for our mystery benefactor who loaned us tables and chairs. You know who you are, but I promise not to say. Because no, you can't have their table and some chairs. I'll never tell. I'd like to remind people to please cherish your wine glass. We have 136 of them, and there are 168 of you. So please keep track of your wine glass. The lovely Mela will be looking for abandoned wine glasses, washing them, getting them back to the bar. But try and keep an eye on those. Thank you. Let's see. If you need a refill on lemonade or ice water, you can flag down one of our lovely student servers from Project Youth Plus, but they will not be able to help you get wine. You'll either need to go to the bar, or we'll give you an adult to get that, because we're not letting the students handle that for their own protection. And at this time, we are going to be asking people to proceed in an orderly fashion to the buffet from Chef Kristen and Jefferson Farm Kitchen. Everything is very locally sourced. And we're going to be going in through this door and then back around through the door you came in. There are 4 identical buffet lines, so we're going to get you through as fast as possible. If you have a special diet need, it's on the back of your name tag, and you can just hand that to one of the catering staff, and they will help you. The students are here to also help people who have any mobility issues. So if you need any help getting your food or bringing it back to your table, they will be there to help you. So I'm going to ask you to go ahead and go to the buffet. I know there's a lot of us, and it's going to take a little time, but we're hoping that with the 4 lines that happens very quickly. And then when you are all back with your dinner, we will proceed. Thank you. All right, you did such a nice job doing that promptly. Thank you, everyone. Welcome. So as I said, I am Kate Dwyer. In opening tonight's program, I would like to say a sincere thank you to all of the Four-Way Community Foundation Board of Directors. At this time, I would like to ask them to stand and be recognized. Please hold your applause until they're all done. With the current board, sorry to take you away from your dinner. If you're currently serving on the board of the Four-Way Community Foundation, would you please stand up? They are alphabetically Augustus Ogu, Deborah Sorensen, Erin Smith-Matea, Greg Fishwick, Jan Taylor, John Higgins, Josh Welch, Leonora Rogers, Meadow Martell, Peter Ongstedt, who will be here soon, Sue Orris, and Teresa Stover. Thank you so much to our board. Thank you, and I'd especially like to thank our event committee, John Higgins, Josh Welch, Leonora Rogers, and the untiring and ever-dependable Sue Orris. It is a guiding belief of mine that humans are fundamentally wired to take care of each other and help each other out. We are a collective species. Certainly, there could be no interstate highways, no suspension bridges without cooperation. Neither could there be bread. The processing of acorns into meal, the transformation of a field of wheat into loaves requires friends. If you've ever tried threshing, winnowing, and grinding grain by yourself, you won't need convincing about that. But beyond cooperation for the necessity, we enjoy it. We thrive on it. We are wired to get a spark of enjoyment every time we successfully assist one another. And that has significant evolutionary benefit. Plus, it feels great. So what stops us from helping? What curtails the helping hand? I believe it is fear. And often people benefit and make money from selling us fear and dividing us. We get afraid that the other person will harm us, that as a result of our generosity we may face scarcity, that our kindness will be received amiss or not reciprocated, or that by living to the heights and the edges of our willingness to love one another, we might seem like some kind of weirdo. Yeah. Personally, I joyfully embrace being that weirdo, and I invite you to join me. Every day we have multiple opportunities to help the people around us, but sometimes there are people with needs we want to help meet, but we just can't do it ourselves. It's beyond our capacity to volunteer as broadly as we wish. Fortunately, we have the tool that is money. Money is stored energy. Money is proxy for putting our backs to it personally. And money, entrusted wisely, can be invested for growth, leveraged with other assets, and applied in places and ways we personally lack the knowledge to evaluate. The Four-Way Community Foundation does that work for our community. We talk about leaving a local legacy, but what is that legacy of? I say, among other things, it is a legacy of fearless caring. The persistence of, thank you. Thank you. The persistence of caring for others, even when we may not know them, when we may have some pretty real reasons to fear them at least a little bit, when we sometimes might fear a stock market crash, when we fear a scarcity in our world of abundance. Allaying our fears and supporting each other in this bold enterprise of meeting our human potential for radically caring about one another is frankly made much easier to do because we have a community foundation. We make that easier by bringing together a volunteer board of directors with deep knowledge of this community, its nonprofits, the needs they serve, and the ways they work together. We make it easier by remaining devoted to learning what those nonprofit organizations need most in order to fulfill their missions of caring. We make that easier by giving people tax-advantaged tools to give away that stored energy. And it is our honor day in and day out to put all the skills and the tools and the resources that we have to the service of caring for this community fearlessly and for the long term. Tonight we get to celebrate many of the groups and a few of the individuals who have embodied that fearless care. But before we do that, I'm going to share with you some of the things that the Four-Way Community Foundation has accomplished this year and some of the things that we are preparing for next year. To begin, these are some of the ways we distributed your love in the form of stored energy. This year, we gave $255,500 in grants to local nonprofits, over $110,000 in endowment distributions, and over $36,000 in donor-advised gifts, for a total of $553,550 in local financial support. Thank you. We help nonprofits, both large and well-established, and very, very small and new, succeed by providing them with skilled training, referrals to other funders, letters of support, and troubleshooting. There's no real way to quantify how much money came into our area from regional foundations because of our introductions, our support, and our championing of our local nonprofits. Or how much better nonprofits are meeting their mission because we trained their board in the essentials they needed to know. But we believe that work is of great value, and we will continue to do it. As a board and a staff, we particularly enjoy helping brand new nonprofit organizations get going. So we not only offer people funding, we help our nonprofits to succeed. The sensory space was started by a mom who just wanted people who love children with very specific needs to have a place to bring them where those needs would be met. We are proud not only to have provided their team with funding, but to have referred them to several other foundations whose giving goals prioritize the people with the same needs as those children that they serve. Another brand new nonprofit we had the honor of helping is the Grants Pass branch of Recovery Cafe. While I was giving a board basics workshop, I asked each of their new board members why they chose to serve in this manner. Each of them had their own moving story, and together those all boiled down to, I am giving my time to put love into action for people I have not yet met. It's a thrill to help people succeed in such a devotion. Four-Way specializes in small capital grants, which is a niche that isn't often filled. It's just not sexy to other funders, but we know it takes stuff to make these things happen. A few of the grants we were able to make this year include these. The Children's Advocacy Center serves some of our most vulnerable children and families at some of the hardest times in their lives. We were happy to be able to provide them with attractive wall treatments that increase soundproofing for privacy during forensic interviews that preserve evidence for the court so that children and families can find justice. And it's fun to help beautify the space that we share with our grant to the Grants Pass Committee on Public Art to continue their enterprise of decorating the downtown utility boxes with the work of local artists. We're thrilled to pour some water on this childcare desert by providing fun things like tricycles and seemingly boring things like truly essential storage space to the all-around kids preschool at Healthy U. And we especially love when neighborhoods work together. Over half a dozen area fire districts provided letters of support and their intent to jointly utilize this residential fire training facility that we helped build over 3 successive granting years for the Illinois Valley Volunteer Firefighters Association so that they can host multi-jurisdiction training events teaching people how to work together in volunteering to pull their neighbors out of burning buildings. Talk about fearless caring. Thank you. And in order to work together effectively, our nonprofits need opportunities to get to know each other. Four-Way is proud to have sponsored the Nonprofit Showcase in Grants Pass and the Community Connections Expo in the Illinois Valley, which bring those nonprofits together to get to know each other, to learn about each other's missions, and to find opportunities to partner and to leverage resources together. As much as we might like to think our groups can do this work forever, sometimes it's time to retire. At the Illinois Valley Family Coalition, superstar Karen Yanessi is ready to take her much-needed rest. We were able to help, Karen. We were able to help that organization locate Aaron Howard to take the helm and to continue to assist them in their comprehensive services to their local neighbors who have the least and need the most and are truly appreciative to receive it. And as we will hear tonight, much more about later, we're especially proud to have provided, at this count, $22,000 in funding to the Mobile Integrative Navigation Team. Yeah, thank you. To establish and equip Parker's Place and to provide potable water to the J Street encampment. There's our friends at Aspire. We also did quite a bit more outreach this year. As you may have noticed, our operations budget is not robust. We try very hard to put everything we can into our mission, but we still really need to let people know that we are here. Often people don't even know that we exist, and they dearly want an opportunity to give to something that is going to stay local and be really well informed about how it spreads that wealth locally. So we have to get out there, and we have to let people know that we are here. So we had a blast sponsoring this year's golf tournament at Aspire, where we engaged people in being a knight in shining armor for their community. And I'd like to thank all of the groups that cheerfully engaged in our shameless ploy to get more marketing assets by entering our photo and story contest this month. I'd like to announce that the winner of that contest is the Growing Together Center. This adorable photograph highlights the grant we provided them in 2023 for early learning. I'm calling it Disgruntled Duckling with Dad. This is a read, play, talk infant group, and clearly, maybe the duck will warm up to it, but we're very pleased. And then we had to show you our runner-up because it was just so cute. This is Canine Angels. Thank you. We help them with the nuts and bolts stuff like fencing and kennels that it takes to provide, and the long-term process of training and winnowing out the winners and maybe we'll find another home for that guy, service dogs that can meet the needs of children who need them, and we are so pleased to be able to support them. Another highlight in 2024 was celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Grants Pass Performing Arts Center. Not only did Four-Way initiate this effort to take the time to celebrate this jewel of an asset, but it had been a legacy gift to the Four-Way Community Foundation by Mel Voorhees that established the core funding to build the PAC 25 years ago. Watching this effort come full circle is one of those crowning moments that our long-standing founders can be particularly proud of. Thank you. In addition to all that organizing, Four-Way is pleased to again be a major sponsor of the facility's next 25 years. And this coming year, the Four-Way Community Foundation will celebrate our 50th anniversary. Thank you. And because the work that we do is actualized through the efforts of dozens and dozens of nonprofit organizations locally, we are throwing them a party. On our actual birthday, the actual anniversary of our incorporation of June 5th, 2025, we will be hosting a big shindig at the Fairgrounds Floral Building to celebrate the 100 nonprofit organizations we have worked with over the past 50 years. We are going to be seeking donations and business sponsorships toward this effort. We're going to be asking all of you to make it happen because it's going to be expensive to to celebrate the organizations that have rolled up their sleeves every day to make change possible across our service area. And in addition to keeping that long-term vision and working with our nonprofits to share best practices, policy templates, pep talks, the bulk of what we give is dollars and cents. And so we invest your gifts with a great deal of care. As you can see here, our investments have borne significant fruit. In 1996, we began investing with Ferguson Wellman Capital Management at just under $2 million. Since our inception, we have given well over $9 million in grants to our community. And despite having distributed well over $9 million, because we have received over $11.5 million in investment gains, we now hold for this community a number right on the cusp of $15 million. It edged up, it edged back, it's edging up, we'll be there. This has all been made possible by so many donors that I would never want to have to list them all. It's a multitude of drops in a bucket along with a number of significant splashes. Together, we are all watering this garden that we share. If you are a donor to the Four-Way Community Foundation, I thank you. And I invite all of you, existing donors and new friends, to join in funding these efforts. I invite you to learn more about the many ways we can structure your gift, from small donations to our general fund for granting, to targeting those donations to existing endowment funds with specific beneficiaries, to building your own endowed fund, perhaps with a 5-year pledge plan, to crafting language in your will or trust that leaves your gift exactly the way that you prefer. It is our honor and our pleasure to provide great specificity and customization in your gift instrument. And we particularly like you to be aware that if you hold a donor-advised fund elsewhere, it is a simple process to bring your donor-advised fund home to the care of the Four-Way Community Foundation. If you have friends who have donor-advised funds and might not be aware of this, please let them know. I'd be very happy to meet with you or anyone else to discuss these options confidentially. Our kindness is not forgotten. It gives people the help they need in the moment, but it also has a ripple effect. Kindness gives other people permission to extend their own kindness to others. And endowed gifts will grow over time so that your kindness rises to meet the future needs of our community, even when you're no longer here to do it yourself. Whatever way you select to demonstrate your fearless caring for your neighbors, we all thank you. If you'd like to learn more about customized tax advantage ways the Four-Way Community Foundation can help you make your generosity into lasting support for the causes that most move your heart, talk to me or to any board member. Even our emeritus board, each of whom is wearing a boutonniere tonight, can tell you about why they chose in their turn to serve our community through Four-Way. We'll be honoring them as a group later tonight. Thank you to our board members and to all of you for entrusting me to lead this miraculous institution. And now I would like to bring up board member Leonora Rogers. Thank you. I'm going to hand you this.
No, thank you. I have the distinct privilege to announce the 2024 winner of the Louis F. Schultz Distinguished Service Award, who is and happens to be Dr. Bruce Murray. But first, we'd like to invite Leah Swanson and Cassie Leach to come up and introduce him and tell us a little bit about him.
Thank you, Leonora. Hello, everyone. It is a true privilege for Cassie and me to introduce Dr. Bruce Murray as this year's recipient of the Distinguished Service Award. For those of us who've had the chance to work alongside him, we know just how well-deserved this recognition is. I met Dr. Murray the first time I ever spoke with him. I ended the conversation extremely nauseous. I had just joined public health, and he was rapid fire telling me all these things that I needed to know about this COVID outbreak, and I was in the car in the passenger seat in this Wolf Creek windy road, and by the time he was done talking to me, I was so car sick, I couldn't hardly stand the thought of talking to him again. But in our years working together, first in public health and now in street outreach, I've seen not only Bruce's medical expertise, but also his unwavering commitment to those who need it most. He brings real health care to people who often go without, those struggling with homelessness and facing unimaginable hardships. He shows up for them time and again, without judgment, with humor, and with a level of care that's truly inspiring. I'd be remiss, though, not to mention that Bruce can be a bit of a bulldozer. Once he sets his mind on something, whether it's securing critical resources or getting a patient the help they need, he's an unstoppable force of nature. And while that determination can keep us all on our toes, it's also a huge part of why he makes such a difference. Bruce simply won't take no for an answer when it comes to his patients. I am honored to co-introduce him with Cassie, another colleague at Mint, so I will let her go ahead.
All right, so it's an honor and privilege to stand before you guys and celebrate a truly exceptional individual. I look up to Dr. Bruce, I call him a friend, and he really embodies compassion and resilience, and we fight really good together, so that's fun. But we always leave the fight better and stronger. So our friendship started over email. Leah made the connection for us. Our first initial conversations were pretty glorious because we marveled over the fact that we were both sharing the same passion. He was working at Rogue Retreat as the medical director at the time, and I was cruising around Riverside Park with a wagon and vaccines. And so we started to talk more and more and figure out how we could partner. I remember one of the first emails I sent to him. I told him, I don't know if you know who Paul Farmer is, but he's a hero of mine. And if you guys don't know Paul Farmer, Google him. Yeah. And his response to me was, if Paul Farmer's your hero, then you've got a friend in me. And that just kind of solidified our friendship and partnership from there. At 74 years young, Dr. Bruce remains a force of nature. I'm 42, I can't keep up with him. He's dedicated to improving the lives of those around him, especially our most vulnerable populations. It is because of these characteristics I call him the unicorn. I often liken Dr. Bruce to the mythological unicorn, not because he's hard to find, but because he represents something rare and transformative in the world of medicine. His commitment to social justice and healthcare equity seems almost magical in its audacity. In a field often bogged down by red tape and indifference, he charges forward with full force, bulldozing sometimes, with his convictions, armed with compassion and the belief that change is not only possible, but absolutely necessary. You see, Dr. Bruce has a unique perspective on life and healthcare that sometimes diverges from conventional wisdom. He challenges me and anyone who gets to work closely with him to think bigger and deeper and not accept the status quo. Dr. Bruce, you have dedicated your life to serving those without a voice, working tirelessly to bridge that gap and for those in need. And your legacy is not just the countless lives you've changed through your work, it is also the profound inspiration you still in all of us. And so I just want to leave and let Bruce talk with a quote from Paul Farmer that I think really just speaks to the whole heart of who Bruce is. And it is the idea that some lives matter less is the root of all that is wrong with this world.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Wow, that was quite an introduction. Either I'm really a good person or I'm a jerk to work with, and I think it's both. No, Cassie and Leah and I have a very special relationship. We've been, together almost daily for more than 2 years, and Cassie and Leah preceded me by about a year as well. It has been a real honor to work with them, and it's an incredible honor to be acknowledged for the work that Ment is doing in this community with many other community partners and with our large team of volunteers and health professionals. There is no one most valuable player on our team, but I really, really welcome this opportunity. I want to thank Kate. I want to thank the board of Four-Way. She scared the daylights out of me when I got a call to come have coffee with her a few months ago. And this was only a short time after a grant had been given to Mint by Four-Way, and I thought she wanted her money back. And I show up, and it's Greg and John and Kate, and I wasn't really clear what they wanted at first, but when they said, well, they wanted to acknowledge the work that I'm doing with the homeless, I said, well, then you called the wrong person. Her name is Cassie, and here's her phone number. And they explained that they were acknowledging work that I had done for a while as well as Mint, but I proudly accept this award. I'm a little nervous. I know this is about as friendly a crowd as I will ever face. But I don't face crowds well, so forgive me. But I can't tell you how much this award means to me, means to my family, and means to the community of people that I've had the pleasure of working with for a long time. The only problem was when she gave me the list of prior recipients, it was daunting, and I then developed a severe imposter syndrome because I know many of these people and have known many of these people for many years. Charlie Seagraves and I go back a long time. We actually made wine together 3 years in a row. Alvin Spears has been an inspiration to this community for years, of course. Carolyn Cohn, close friend. Her husband Bill was a partner of mine for 30 years at Grants Pass Clinic, and Carolyn obviously was instrumental in starting early childhood education programs in the city and deserved to be recognized. It was sad for me to see 2 people on the list of recipients that have passed away and were patients of mine. Linda and Midge. Doug Walker, I've gotten to know just in the last couple of years, and talk about a force of nature. I'm barely a pipsqueak compared to a tornado that he is, but his drive to get housing for the homeless obviously coincides with our drive to get people into housing as well. So thank you, Doug. And then, there's everybody, this entire group of recipients has been amazing to know. I don't know all of you. I met one. I met Roger tonight, someone I didn't know. There's one before. But, volunteerism seems to be at the body and at the heart of this organization, and you will have my support the rest of my life, I know. Philanthropy, volunteering, personal qualities, kindness, generosity, and unselfishness seem to characterize the people that have been honored before, and that all leads to community leadership. Now, I know all these qualities primarily represent Steve Rowe, but most of them, I think, apply to the others. But I have held Steve in high esteem for years. I am very pleased to call him my friend. So I thank you for this opportunity to acknowledge them, and I hope I live up to expectations going forward. As you all know, Leah started Mint with acknowledging health inequity during COVID. Vaccines came along. She was working with public health, and I had known her during my tenure there as well, but she really took off, and she noted that the quality issue of health care is the federal government saying COVID vaccines are available for everybody. Wonderful, wonderful. Leah acknowledged, though, That means you have to be able to access them and take advantage of it. And that's health equity. And she recognized that early. And that is still a founding principle of Mint today, is that we are taking services that should be available that can't be accessed because of all of the barriers to accessing care that we know that those experiencing homelessness experience every single day. And it will be 30 degrees in the morning tomorrow. We have to provide services for this population, and we are. And it's grown from a small organization. We've got 2 tables and spillover of Mint volunteers, healthcare professionals, peer support. We have a dynamic team, and it's going to continue to grow because we are hoping to even do better things going into the future. Housing is at the root of it. Housing is healthcare, as we know, and that is what we seem to have a dearth of locally. But Doug is working on it. Cassie's working on it. We are hoping to work with the city going forward. So it's not hopeless at all by any means. I just want to let you know that there are many instances of people stepping up, and I want to call out one who really dates pre-Mint to at a time when we were looking for housing during COVID. And we couldn't find somebody that would take people who had been released from prison, who may have had a history of substance use, who had COVID and were sick, released from prison, had no family, and had no money. I was told about a wonderful place called Motel Del Rogue. Doggone it, I said I wasn't going to do this. And I just want to acknowledge Constance. Constance, please stand up. Constance, I will never forget my first phone call to Constance, which was basically to say, hey, Constance, I know it's Friday night at 8 p.m. and we haven't ever met, but I've got a man that was released from prison who's really sick and has COVID. We can't find housing because he has COVID, and I've heard you might take him. He says, yes. And he's sick right now, yes. And we don't have housing tonight. She said, yes. And that started our relationship. A relationship with public health, relationship with me personally. I don't know a finer family than Kevin and Constance and Sylvia in this town. Now, to end this, and I know my time is running short, I'm sorry. To end this, I do have another example of health inequity. Please take it in the spirit it's offered, which is it's all true, but it also can be humorous. It's so absurd. A young man came to me in the park a month ago, 37, complaining of heart symptoms, and it turns out he had very, very severe late advanced heart disease due to his use of methamphetamines. We worked with him as a team, got him some help that he needed, and he got to see a cardiologist and is going ahead with getting treatment. But I got the 9-page note from the cardiology office, not Asante, not Grants Pass, some other place. And on the intake, they asked, do you have a steady place to live? He says, no, I don't have a steady place to live. I'm temporarily staying with others in a hotel, in a shelter, sometimes living outside on the street, sometimes on a beach, sometimes in a car, abandoned buildings, bus or train stations, or in a park. So the note ended after 9 pages. And it basically said, new orders? No. New prescriptions? None. Other recommendations. Now, this is a man who has no money, has no income, has no housing. Watch your blood pressure closely. Keep a log. And be sure to call us. He has no phone. Please sure to call us if your blood pressure goes above 130/80. Next number. And this one, for those of you that know me, water is near and dear to my heart. So when it was recommended that this gentleman drink 6 to 8 glasses of water daily, that struck home, but he lives at the J Street Park. Try to keep it light. Next number. Eat a heart-healthy Mediterranean diet, which we just enjoyed, and it was delicious. Keep your diet rich in vegetables, fruits, low-fat dairy products, whole grains, poultry, fish, legumes, nuts, and vegetable oil. try to shop mostly around the periphery of the building, of the grocery store where the fresh foods are kept. Limit intake of red meat, sweets, sugar-containing beverages, trans fat, sodium, and saturated fat. If he could buy food, those are his favorite items. And exercise at least 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, for a man who can't walk across the room without passing out or being short of breath. So anyway, we have a long way to go. But boy, what a community, what a team. I love you all. Thank you.
We'd like to ask Bruce to stay. Bruce, stay. We're going to bring the entire Mint team up on the stage. All of you, if we need to take this table down, we'll do it. We really would like all of you here. Mayla, help me take this table down. Thanks. Yeah, we had 2 pieces of stage last year, and oh, can you get that, honey? Now I asked you, and now my hands are full. All right, thank you. Oh, thank you, Owen. Here. So this award comes with a $10,000 check to the charity of Dr. Murray's choice, and surprise, surprise, he chose Mint. This is the shot. Keep taking them, Lori. This is the money shot for the Daily Courier, so thank you. Don't hesitate to take 100 pictures. Thank you. Thank you so much. It takes a team, and all of these people have been doing it together. Thank you so very much. Carol, we have a gift for you to present to Bruce, so if you two would stay here. Leonora, his is the tall, skinny one, right? No, his is the other one? Okay, thank you. This is for you. Yeah, you had a gift to him. So this is Bruce enjoys going to the Winchester Bay RV Resort, and so we have a gift certificate for you to continue enjoying that. So that's for you personally. We're also going to give you a framed photograph of you and your Mint team. We do, we do. Thank you. So it's such an honor to present this award to Dr. Murray, and we also would really like to recognize that the Louis F. Schultz Jr. Distinguished Service Award recognizes annually a member of our community, sometimes 2 together, whose personal service and generosity shines as an example to us all. And so in reverse order, I'm going to tell you about the honorees, and if you are one of those honorees, we are going to ask you to stand. In 2007, we honored the late Lois Gates. In 2008, we honored, who is still among us, Alvin Spears. Alvin, would you please show us where you are? Thank you, Alvin. Alvin is also an emeritus board member of Four Way. In 2009, we honored the late John Reinhardt. In 2010, the late Charlie Morrison. In 2011, our honorees together were the late Bob and the present and accounted for Barbara Bean. Barbara, dear, where are you? Thank you so much, Barbara. In 2012, we honored Roger Brandt. Thank you, Roger. Roger's tireless work for parks and in the Illinois Valley resulted in recently the City Council having the wisdom to name the Little League field Roger Brandt Field. Thank you, Roger. In 2013, we honored the late Brady Adams, whose vision for public art gave us things like this Bear Hotel. Thank you, Brady. In 2014, our award winner was the indomitable, and I love him so dearly, Charlie Seagraves. There he is at the back. Thank you, Charlie. He remains a force to be reckoned with. In 2015, our honoree for his years of service is the venerable and beloved Cliff Coolman. Thank you, Cliff. In 2016, we honored the late Donna Jean and the still here but far away Dean Wendell. In 2017, which was my first year on the board, we had the honor of presenting the award to Carolyn Cohn. Carolyn, where are you? There she is. In 2018, the award was won by Mary Lou Thomason. She's here. There she is. Hi, Mary Lou. They called right after tickets were sold out, and Barbara said, "Can Mary Lou come?" And I said, "If I have to knock out a wall, Mary Lou is coming." In 2019, our honoree was the late and lamented Linda Hugel. In 2020, the winner of this award was Doug Walker. Where are you, Doug? There he is at the back. In 2021, we honored, God rest her, just in time, Midge Renton. In 2022, our honoree was our beloved rainbow grandmother, Brenda Patton. In 2023, we had the profound honor of honoring Steve Rowe. Thank you. And Dr. Murray, you absolutely belong on that roster. Thank you. And with that, we are going to take a 10 to 15 minute intermission. Bathrooms are over here and over there. The bar is open for you. Please take a moment to mingle, check in with each other, and we will reconvene in 10 or 15 minutes. Thank you. true. Okay, we're going to ask you to resume your seats, please. Thank you. We appreciate that. Thanks a lot. Elise was just saying my job seems like saying thank you in a lot of different ways. She's right. It does. All right. All right, everybody. I hope you've gotten your glass of wine and had your cupcakes and your chance to run to the bathroom and seen people. Thank you. Okay. Let's come sit down. Thank you. I know, people don't want to see, I get it. We all want to see each other. So when we started planning this year's celebration and I looked at the calendar, I saw straight away that this event was going to be 2 days after a contentious national election. For a moment, I said to the board, can we do this a week ahead and celebrate Dia de los Muertos and have some ofrenda to all the people gone before? Can we just skip the whole, can we just have an ofrenda? And yeah. But we went ahead with our planned date, but we made provision for that by thinking about what we really needed to do as a community after suffering the bombardment of ads after ads after ads that told us just how divided and dissimilar we are, when in fact we know that that is not the case. So we looked to what would unite us. And tonight we are so pleased to have as our speakers Jeff Spitzer and Elise Keith of Braver Angels, and they will have an opportunity to tell you what that is. But I would like to welcome and thank our guests, Elise and Jeff. Come on up.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us. We're super excited to be here and talk about some of the work that we've been doing to build a braver Oregon as part of Braver Angels over the last several years. And we thought we'd get started by just seeing how excited you are to talk about politics.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because, so Jeff,
Yeah, I really want to see who's looking forward to just seeing bills and coupons in your mail again. Yeah?
right?
Me too.
Who is tired of feeling like they need to fact check everything they read? Yeah.
Who has had a heated political discussion with a friend or relative recently?
Yeah, ouch, right? Ouch. Who has stopped visiting social media because, oh dang, yeah. So this is the world that we work in. Our organization.
Oh, one more question. Who here is ready to hear about anything other than the stinking election? Yeah, me too. Though we are going to talk about it some more.
So Jeff and I are local volunteers. Braver Angels is a national organization. Who's heard of Braver Angels? Yeah?
Oh, wow.
Sweet.
Fantastic.
And I know we actually have some Braver Angel volunteers in the room. Hi, Georgia! And anybody else who's participated, it's really exciting to have that much awareness around. The organization isn't that old. It was started in 2016 with the first election of our new president as a way to help address this divide. And it has grown quite a bit since then, and our work is really just about helping people see each other as people again and be together as neighbors. So today we want to talk to you a little bit about what that looks like in the form of just sharing some of our stories and leaving you with 5 questions that we've found and that we use in this work to stay curious and to help bridge the divide. Don't trip. Don't trip. Jeff's going to get us started.
All right. So first thing we'd like you to consider is how have your direct personal experiences affected your political beliefs? Because we all have different backgrounds, we have different stories, we have different life experiences that have led us to how we believe today politically and how we ultimately end up voting in elections. And for me, getting involved with Braver Angels was sort of a culmination of years of frustration. It used to be just around election time every 4 years or so that my friends would get a little nutty, right? Get a little crazy, especially on social media, and I just couldn't stand it anymore. All the finger pointing, all the blame, all the grandstanding, it would just drive me nuts. And anybody remember 2020? We had a polarizing election, we had a pandemic, we had riots in the streets after the killing of George Floyd. We had just everything. The world was on fire, and that pushed me off the sidelines. And I've long believed that the root of a lot of our issues right now is because we don't try to understand each other anymore. In the digital age, we've gotten used to just hiding behind a screen, not looking somebody in the eye, making a friend, having a conversation. Instead, we just get on social media and just spout out like what we believe and why I'm right and you're wrong. And until we get back to actually talking to one another and understanding each other, we're not gonna like move forward as a community or as a nation. So that's what drove me to get involved. I found Braver Angels, I jumped right in. I've been involved for over 4 years, and it's been really, really fulfilling, exciting, encouraging when we go and do events and we see people just leave with so much hope, coming out of it, walking in believing that we have more difference than in common, and then leaving understanding that we have way more in common than we do difference. We've just been driven to see our differences as opposed to our commonalities. So think about how your life experiences have shaped your political beliefs, and also how you're being indirectly influenced by what's being shown to you every day.
I got involved about the same time, and as all Braver Angels organizations are, Jeff and I represent opposite sides, ha, of the conversation. Jeff leans red, I lean blue, damn, right? But it's in sharing our stories about how we came to believe what we do, how we came to learn what we've learned, that we found that, you know, he came because he was frustrated, I came because I was frustrated, and that we have that in common. You know, we all want our communities to thrive. So that leads us to our second question. When I feel outraged by the other side, when I see something and I'm like, I cannot believe that that happened. How could they possibly vote for, support that policy? A question to ask is, am I sure I have the full story? Something we've learned is that when we always have on our blue-tinted or our red-tinted glasses, it's hard to tell that the snow is white. And that comes up quite a bit in some of our workshops. People react with wonderful good intentions and faith based on what they've learned, what they've seen in the media, the threat that is imposed by others. We ran a workshop, it's called a red-blue workshop, where we bring together equal numbers of people who lean red, and by red we mean conservative or Republican, and people who lean blue, so that's Democrat or liberal, to share what they believe about each other, some of the stereotypes, and whether, you know, there might be grains of truth in that. And at one of these workshops, we had a woman who was running for an elected position in Lane County because she was very passionate about the environment. And she was very frustrated about all of the conservative resistance to policies that were coming in around green energy. She said, I have to be in this workshop so I can understand why there are so many science deniers and climate haters on the other side. And she got into conversation with people who identified conservative, who were in fact against the policies she advocated for, where she learned that they in fact thought, yes, indeed, the climate was changing, but her policies undermined their ability to make a living. They had farms that relied on diesel fuel and no other way to fuel their tractors. They had put in other kinds of carbon sequestration that wasn't allowed for in the law. And in that conversation, in talking about what is your experience, what do you see from your side, how does this work for you, she learned that the fight that she was getting ready to campaign for was against a false enemy. That in fact, she could work with the people that she was seeing as her enemy to make a better policy that helped both the climate and the economy.
So on that note, start to think about how might another reasonably competent adult come to believe something that I find abhorrent. We all think that a lot, right? I know coming out of this election right now, there's a lot of people in this room who feel that right now. How could anybody vote for that person? In fact, you know, I've seen a lot on social media, as I'm sure you have the last couple of days, and one of my Facebook friends, who I know in person as well, though they live in another state, posted something to the effect of, if you voted for him, meaning Donald Trump, unfriend me now, we have nothing in common, and you have no morals. This is just something she blindly puts out there to anybody she's Facebook friends with. And I read that, and that just it breaks my heart, because if there's people, like Facebook friends don't have to be like real friends, right? We all have Facebook friends that we never see in person. But I'm sure that she has people in her life that might have voted for Donald Trump and who she otherwise wouldn't have known, but she has good relationships with them. She doesn't find them immoral. Whatever reasons we choose to vote for that person that others might find like ridiculously bad or whatever, don't put that on the person who voted for them. We all have our different reasons for voting. So this is a room full of people who I'm sure that there are people sitting next to you who voted differently than you in this election at probably multiple levels up and down the tickets. And you maybe don't know that right now. And you've had a lovely evening with them. There are people that you would enjoy spending time with. You might be making plans to go and get together and have, coffee or drinks or dinner or something at a later date. Just because somebody voted for somebody that you don't like doesn't make them a horrible person too. We all have different reasons for what we believe. And on that note, I did want to share another story about a Common Ground workshop that we ran some years ago on abortion. It was during the pandemic, it was online, and this was actually came out of some work that we did with students at Lewis and Clark College, and they helped organize this workshop that they wanted to do on the issue of abortion. And in a Common Ground workshop in Braver Angels, you bring equal numbers of people on each side of an issue, in this case abortion. We had 8 pro-choice and 8 pro-life people in the room. And again, walking in, well, the virtual room, walking virtually into the room, they all believed that they were on polar opposite sides. One side hates women, the other side hates babies, whatever it is, And what they found is that they had like 80% agreement. In fact, there were 2 women in the group that came in, one pro-choice, one pro-life, identifying that way, and by the end of the workshop, they found that they had the exact same policy positions, which was, safe and legal, available abortion up to a certain time frame. But yet one of them looked at that as a pro-life issue and the other as pro-choice, And they were really dug in on that, not realizing that they had so much common ground. So we got to get past the labels. We have to talk to each other. We have to try and understand what's behind what we believe.
That was a stunning workshop. It was a stunning workshop to watch people realize that, gosh, other people like women and children too, you know, and young people. So that was a spot of hope for me when we did that workshop, because it was students saying, you know what, we don't understand why anybody could possibly believe that. Why could anybody possibly have that policy idea? And in conversation, you find out. You find out that actually their concerns are more like your concerns than you think, but they came from a different background. They've got a different upbringing, they've got a different community, and it gets expressed and pulls us apart in different ways. Which leads us to ask, in the Common Ground workshop and in others, how can we find the underlying values and concerns that we share, right? When we get past the labels and we take our red-blue glasses off and we can see things together with honesty, what can we work on together? And that's always in conversation. You know, it's very hard to do through social media. It's very hard to do through blasting people, but when
Don't try it.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't try to find common ground on social media.
But when you sit down in a room with people across what appears to be an uncrossable chasm, you find that there's a lot of opportunity. And for this one, a lot of what we do is workshops. We do skill building. We bring people together to talk, and that's important. It's even more exciting when it moves into action. So I want to tell you a little bit about this community. These are people from El Sobrante, California, which is a small community in a canyon in between larger communities. And their community is in this canyon where they have a significant homeless encampment problem up on the canyon walls, and they are also a level 5 fire danger zone. Right? So bad mix, because 54% of their wildfires were caused in the homeless encampments. But they had had an incredible difficult time addressing it because they had gotten stuck on any of their policy changes in the political infighting. You know, oh, this is uncaring. Oh, this is uneconomical. You know, all of the kinds of things that you see at the high-level news. So here's what this community did. They started as a Braver Angels conversation group, and they decided to hold a Common Ground workshop, much like Jeff talked about with the group on abortion, to identify where are our shared concerns, what are our shared goals or values, things we would like to see, and what are some policy recommendations that we can all agree on. Out of that, they came away with 4 really strong pillars that they all felt they could agree on from both all sides of the political spectrum, which they took to town hall. And then we host a workshop format with our legislators. This is called a deliberative town hall. So it's not so much people with the mic getting to take turns yelling about their opinion. It's very much more table groups and people working to figure out how to make these ideas move forward. They held a deliberative town hall, out of which they formed action groups that created research teams that over the course of 3 months went searching for solutions. Together, they identified another Braver Angels group that had connected with the homeless services community in Austin, Texas, and San Antonio, and had looked at the ways in which those communities were providing housing and services to their vulnerable populations. They took their mayor and their city council and their community to visit those services in Austin and bring the idea back. They now have funding and a plan for where to put in new housing in their community that will also mediate their fire danger risk. It wasn't a minute, it wasn't easy, but what it took was sitting down together in conversation and agreeing to build on common values.
So on that note, learning to work together to build on the things that we share and to better understand our differences. Another quick story on the heels of what Elise just said. Another community who had been fighting over trying to get a stop sign in their community for some time, but they just couldn't get past the sort of the divide within the community politically. And after attending a Braver Angels workshop, they were inspired. They took some of the skills that they learned how to apply those skills within the context of that issue, and they finally got that stop sign put up. Another community in Utah got their legislators involved, and I believe it was a Habitat for Humanity project, and they had, Democrats and Republicans, liberals, conservatives, all working side by side, doing this work together because they were able to find common ground. They were able to find their shared values. And in fact, you'd never know this by what you see on the news because we don't get real news anymore. We get opinions. But liberals and conservatives share a lot of the same values. We just stack them in different orders for different issues. But we have a lot more in common than we do apart. This picture here is our red and blue co-chairs of our alliance in the Columbia River Gorge that covers 4 counties across Oregon and Washington. And this is what we see all the time in Braver Angels, is people working together across the partisan divide. Like Elise and I have been doing this work together for 4 years now. And I've been to Elise's house. In fact, your dad, who you've described as being very polarized blue.
Oh man, Rachel Maddow is his hot ticket, yep.
And we'll talk about all the evil conservatives. Mm-hmm. I sat next to him and talked to him at a barbecue at her house for 45 minutes or so, and he remarked to Elise afterwards, like, oh, that nice conservative fella that in fact, he loaned me, I was having some back issues, and he loaned me his inversion table. I mean, so he probably now thinks that I'm one of the okay ones, but that's the thing, is when you actually talk with somebody and you get to know them as a human being, you start to see like, okay, well, he's an okay one, but not them, but what if you got to know all the others too? I would bet that, taking the extremes out of the picture for a moment, there's like 80, 90% of us in this vast middle that have way more in common than we've been led to believe. And if we just take the time to understand each other a little better, we can see that and we can start to work together on the problems facing us in our communities.
So we got notes from Tom and Doug here because they went and did pair work at the ballot box recently saying, hey, we're here, I'm red, I'm blue, we want to support voting and keeping our communities together. Apparently they gave a I voted sticker to a parrot, so I don't know if they were entirely serious about everything they did. But we also received just a couple of days ago, this is impossible to read, I'm going to see if I can read it for you. This letter, and I wanted to include it because there was a workshop held in Salem, right? So Braver Angels in Oregon in 2020, we were Jeff and me and like 3 other guys doing workshops online. And since then, there were pockets of people around the state. There are now alliances, strong alliances of people who get together and start working on their communal issues in the Gorge, as we said, in Eugene. That's a very strong alliance. In the Northwest Willamette Valley, in Portland. There's action happening in Pendleton, in Bend and Sisters area, and I think Grants Pass may be ripe. And then Jeff led a workshop in Salem, and you would want it to be in Salem, right? And one of the people who left his workshop wrote this letter, and it says, residents of Salem and Kaiser, today is November 6th, and we are at an inflection point for our nation. We, the undersigned, believe and choose the following, and we hope that others will join us. We believe Salem and Kaiser are home to people who want the best for their families, their neighbors, and their community. We choose to see one another as community members with whom we can rise together. We believe that everyone deserves to feel a sense of belonging. We choose to build belonging through our everyday actions, seeing one another as fellow community members and treating everyone with dignity and respect in all our interactions. We believe that understanding requires relationships and dialogue. We choose to share our stories and welcome other stories into our lives. Through that sharing, we will all have a more complete understanding of our community. We believe that our language has power to create a sense of belonging for others. We choose to speak in ways that affirm our community and choose not to use language that demeans or devalues others. Yes, the United States of America's future is shaped by elections, but it is also shaped by our everyday choices. In choosing to live in Salem and Kaiser, we choose belonging over division. We choose hope over despair. We choose our community.
The real amazing thing about this is it was signed by over 90 community leaders, including faith leaders, elected officials, and other community leaders.
The sheriff, the presidents of the universities,
Yeah.
the reps. This can be all our communities.
Yeah.
We are not defined by our elections. We are defined by our relationships.
Before we give you some, let me tell you a little bit about where to begin. How are we doing on time?
And then you should wrap up.
Okay. If you want to get out your smartphone and scan that code, you're welcome to. Otherwise, you can just go to braverangels.org/Oregon. Braverangels.org will take you to the national website, or the /Oregon will take you to the work that we're doing here in Oregon. We do workshops to teach communication skills, to explore stereotypes across the divide, to find common ground on issues. We're doing this work all over the country, and we'd love to continue doing it throughout Oregon. Elise and I have been traveling around the state this summer, and this is our last stop of the year, and we're honored to be here, and this has been really exciting. So build a new set of skills. Learn how to, I'm sure there's great communicators in this room, but how much are you applying them to your political divides, the people who you think that you don't have anything in common with? And get involved with Braver Angels or another similar organization that's working to bridge this kind of a gap. And the last thing I'll say, for anybody who's still doubting, because I know that there's still some doubters in the audience, that we could ever overcome this chasm, that we could ever see somebody, our political opposite, as humans again and not as some horrible creature. I'll just like to ask you this. How confident are you that you are 100% certain that you are 100% right on all your political beliefs? And if you can't say with certainty that, yes, every belief I have is 100% absolutely true and right and unfallible, then ask yourself this: what am I wrong about? And if you really want to know what you're wrong about, how are you going to find out unless you talk with somebody who thinks differently than you? So our call to action is to have a curious conversation. Curiosity might have killed the cat, but it's going to save our communities, it's going to save our country. Thank you.
I'm going to hand this to you so you can say thank you and send people on their next step. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much to Elise and Jeff for coming down and presenting to us. And thank you so much for Braver Angels for the work that you do. I was listening to an NPR report, and they were speaking to a Mennonite family, and they were saying, we were really moved by this workshop we went to by these people called Braver Angels. And I'm in the car going, yes, right? So thank you so much, and I am going to ask to come to the stage our board member, Greg Fishwick. open this.
They're both in here, so I'll get them later.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, there's both of them there.
There
Okay.
you go.
What about the other gifts for Deborah? Okay. We're talking about where the gifts are hidden. Thank you to Kate. And if you don't know, Kate Dwyer has been the ED, the executive director of Four-Way, for 6 years, after spending 2 years on the board. In that time, she's become the go-to mentor for our local nonprofits. And thanks to your generosity, she has helped our corpus more than double to over $15 million. This is what allows us to meet our mission, which is cultivating local philanthropy and nonprofit success. Kate is ably assisted by our marketing and communications director, Lori Sale. Lori's here tonight. The Four-Way Board consists of 12 hardworking members who each serve on one of 3 committees. We conduct site visits for every grant applicant, and we try to determine the feasibility of their projects and also offer advice about how to improve their requests. If you're interested in serving on our board, please let one of us know, and be sure to go to the movie Conclave, which is the model for our selection procedure. Tonight we're going to honor 2 board members who have served our maximum of 3 consecutive 3-year terms. 9-year veterans. We'll begin with Deborah Sorensen. Come on up, Deb. Come on up, Deb. There she comes. Deb is a partner in the law firm of Sorensen, Ransom, and Ferguson, which is a longtime sponsor of this event. In addition to Four-Way, Deb has served on several other boards, including Lovejoy Hospice and Project Youth Plus. She's a member of the Grants Pass Kiwanis, and rumor has it that she's been known to give discounts at the Seas Candy booth on the winter holidays. In addition to the chocolate, we will miss Deb's incisive analysis in our decision-making. Please give her a round of applause, and we have a little gift for her. The other member of our board who's unfortunately leaving us is Peter Angstad. Many of you would know Peter as the 12-year president of Rogue Community College from 2004 to 2016. He's just back from teaching class at RCC right now. He's also serving as interim vice president for administration and finance at SOU. And this assignment, unfortunately, has caused him to give up his post-retirement avocation as a high school baseball and softball umpire. Peter is a past president of both Four-Way and the Asante boards, and we will miss his collaborative leadership, his great sense of humor, and perhaps most of all, his river stories. Thank you, Peter. Now
Deb is giving me her time, and I'd just like to say Deb and I are the graduating class of 2024, and she's the valedictorian. I'm kind of the nerdy guy who never gets anywhere in class. So a couple things I'd like to say. First off, when I heard there wouldn't be any music because they couldn't get the choir, I tried to get John Higgins to sing with me. And I said, come on, John, we can be the righteous brothers. You be the brother and I'll be righteous. But he said no. But I do want to say that to reinforce what Greg and Kate have said, if you want to be on the board, please do. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Both Deb and I have served 9 years. It's been a true joy to be involved with the board. and to work with so many people who have so many great projects to help the community. You know, I'm wearing it. Four-Way was founded a number of decades ago by some Rotarians, and I'm wearing the Rotary symbol tonight because I always think of the motto, service above self. And I think to myself, if everybody in the country, if everybody in the world could think that way, what a great place it would be. And that's why organizations such as Braver Angels are wonderful groups to have to lead the way. But just think about that. And I know many of you out there have been involved in community organizations and have made donations and all. And I'd have to say, keep doing that because you'll lead the way, service above self, and we'll all be a better place because of you. So thank you. And we're going to go out and have a after graduation party, so we'll see you later.
Stay right here, stay right here. Yes, yeah. With these boutonnieres, we are officially inaugurating Deb and Peter into the illustrious group of our emeritus board members. And will all the other board members that are emeritus board members who have boutonnieres tonight, please stand so we can recognize you if you're able. Thank you very much. Now I think we have a gift for you. Yeah. Thank you very much. And next we have Sue. Is Sue Orris coming up, or who's next? Oh, I'm sorry. One more thing I was going to do is we do have two board members who made it through the conclave and are going to join us. One cannot be here tonight, Mark Koberstein, who was unable to attend because he's ill, but Hyla Lipson is going to join us next year. Hyla, could you stand? Here's Hyla. Most of us know Hyla as the executive director of the Grants Pass Museum of Art. She's also the former co-owner of Fiber Optic Lighting. That's the company that produced the large electronic holiday cards that we hear and see all winter long and are on display against the wall tonight. Thank you, Hyla, and welcome aboard.
Thank you. Thank you. Sue? Ooh.
I just have a couple of housekeeping things. One is that at each table, under one seat, there's a little smiley face, and the person sitting on that seat gets to take home the flowers that were provided by Greenleaf Industries. The other, as you leave, it's going to be under the seat. So you're going to have to get up, look under the seat. The other housekeeping business is when you're leaving, you could leave your name tags on the tables at the front door. We'd really appreciate them so we can use them in the future. And John Higgins.
Here he comes. This is our current board president, John Higgins. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. I'm in the enviable spot of kind of wrapping things up. They propped the president up to kind of close things down for the evening, but I would like to start off by thanking a few individuals and organizations for their patronage tonight. I want to start by thanking Peter Engstedt. You never close your eyes anymore when I kiss your lips. Oh, sorry, I digress. So, anyway, so we would like to thank Evergreen Federal Bank, the staff of the Bear Hotel, Chef Kristen Catering, let me get my glasses, Tiny Little Bubbles, Forest Vineyards, Project Youth and Student Servers, Southern Oregon Audio Visual, Mitchell Arts Photography, and Cat's Cupcakes. We get a round of applause for all of our sponsors, please. Right, so now I'm supposed to say something motivational and insightful about my prior year as president of the Fairway Foundation, and then look forward to next year. Looking back, I want to make this really short. It's been an honor and a privilege to be the leader of such a wonderful organization, a group on the board. They're a fantastic group of board members. I particularly want to single out those people who devoted extra time on the committees, the chairman of those committees, and the two people who stepped into very difficult shoes. As secretary replacing Don Welsh, we had Sue Orris, and she did a wonderful job. And as far as replacing the irreplaceable Teresa Stover as treasurer, Jan Taylor. Outstanding job. So looking back, that kind of sums things up in terms of, you've heard a lot about what we've accomplished last year. We can hope to continue that trend. Looking forward, as Kate mentioned, next year we'll be celebrating our 50th anniversary as an organization. And I feel very comfortable in making a commitment tonight that as we look forward, we will continue to steward the resources this community has entrusted to us with the greatest of care in order to support the nonprofits that make the four-way community so special. The four-way community, our community. Thank you very much for attending, and have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you, John. Thank you again to our students from Project Youth Plus and other places who have helped serve us, and to Chef Kristen and her catering team. And thank you to every one of you. Thank you to Motel Del Rogue again for housing our speakers. And thank you to everyone tonight for joining us and attending with us, and for committing with us to reach across the aisle in every way and love the person standing right in front of us, because that is how we create community. Thank you so much. Good night.
Well, it's all